Hello, everybody. My name is Rob Goldberg, and I'll be your son or daughter's earth science teacher this year. I just want to take a few minutes to introduce the course and myself and give you a little bit of an informational guide as to how class is going to be run this year, given the new state of school that we find ourselves in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the syllabus that I have posted on Schoology, as well as what I went over with students on the first day of school. So this is pretty much how all the class is going to be run this year. And I try to make it as similar to what we would have done in class if we were all in school as I possibly can. So this is just a basic rundown of what the class is about. Earth science, the study of the earth processes, including astronomy, rocks and minerals, earthquakes, and things of that nature. The required materials that I have students bring with them to the Zoom meetings, it's essentially going to be all digital this year. And the only things that I have them work on paper are the labs that I sent home and the guided note packets that I did as well. Those are going to be hopefully the majority of what we do on paper, as most of everything else will be digital. So as long as they have the tablet or a way to get onto Zoom, they'll be good for the vast majority of classes that we're going to be in this year. The only other things that I require of my students is that they just have a way to file all the papers that I did give them at the beginning of the year, most importantly, the labs. So the class requirements are pretty similar to what I would have expected in any given year, but obviously we adjusted things to accommodate the Zoom sessions as opposed to having kids in the classroom. But for the most part, it's all about respect while you're in the Zoom meetings and acting accordingly as you would while you were in school. A big one that I have is that everybody come into class on time, whether we are remote and joining the Zoom session, or if we are hybrid and you are actually in school. That is one of the big requirements also, is that all the students join class on time, so that way I can get started and we won't run out of time. Obviously I expect everybody to keep up with the classwork and the homework and the labs that we do. Most of the work that we do will be done almost in its entirety in class, so any work that has to be done outside of class should hopefully be pretty minimal for my students, but from time to time they might have to work on something on their own, and I'm hopeful that everybody will keep up with their work as we continue forward in the year. One of the big differences, though, this year in terms of the requirements and the expectations is that if one of my students is absent from class, we no longer have to wait for the next class to occur for somebody to come up and ask what they missed from the last time. If somebody is absent from a Zoom session or from class, I will be posting all of the necessary material, including any paperwork or documents that I have the students complete, as well as a video of my lesson as well. I'll be posting all of those onto Schoology. So if somebody were to miss class, they would no longer have to wait and ask me the next time class rolls around. All they have to do is go onto Schoology, onto the class page, and they can get everything that they need in order to learn or do the work from that class. I wanted to break down my grading policy and how the class is going to be run in terms of their overall grade. So half of their grade, 50%, is going to come from tests and quizzes. 30% is going to come from the labs that we do. And then the last 20% comes from the general classwork or just little homework assignments that I have. That'll be 20%. So the way that the tests and quizzes are going to work is that I will be giving them, and I already have started giving them through Schoology, but it's only going to be every Wednesday. So this could actually be finished at any point on Wednesday. There's no designated time. So I post the quizzes and tests right around 7:30 in the morning, and they have until 11:59 p.m. that Wednesday to finish a quiz or a test. But they can count on every single Wednesday either having a quiz or they have a unit test. So this is also the way that I take attendance for that day, is that they complete the test or the quiz that I have assigned. So already my students are pretty used to checking Schoology every Wednesday, even though we don't have class, and checking the quiz or the test that I have posted and completing it before the day is through. The labs for class. So right now we do have a Regents exam scheduled for the end of the school year in June. So I'm going to be running labs just like I would in a normal year, and I'm going to be abiding by the state regulations in terms of what's required for lab completion. So the way that it works, if you don't have any experience or you're not aware of the way Regents science courses work, is that each student must complete a minimum of 30 lab hours in order to take the Regents exam at the end of the year. So typically the way that it works in class is that one lab equals one lab hour. And the labs need to be completed and passing in order to receive that credit for one lab hour. Some labs might be worth a little bit less, some might be a little bit more, but on average, one lab equals 1 hour. So by the end of the year, in order to take that test again, they need 30 lab hours. Now, the way that I grade the labs is that most of them are going to be out of 10. So they need at least a 6.5 out of 10 or a 65 in order to get credit. If they didn't pass a lab for whatever reason, they got below a 6.5, I always require students to correct the labs in their entirety, but I do require them to do it either with myself or with Mr. Monagle, who also teaches with me in Earth Science. So they can do that on Zoom call on Wednesdays, or we can find a time, what would be 9th period after 2:15 if they really wanted to do that. But I'm pretty flexible with lab corrections and finding time to help anybody. Again, same thing for class. If a student does miss the lab class, I post all of my lessons onto Schoology. So that way they can grab the lab that they already have that I sent home, and they can follow the video and they can complete the lab as they follow along in the video, or at least what we did in class. Unfortunately, though, with all the regulations that we now have due to the COVID restrictions, even if we do go into hybrid, unfortunately, I cannot use my lab room this year because we just cannot be socially distant in the lab room, as well as obviously no group work this year. So most of the labs that we will be completing will now instead be mostly demonstration labs. So they will still get a lab experience, but obviously much different from what it normally is. The assignments that I give to the students are almost always going to be online. And those assignments can easily be turned in online and I can see them. But all the assignments, including the labs that I give during the week, everything is going to be due by Wednesdays. So anything that I give the students from Thursday to Tuesday will be due the following Wednesday. This is to eliminate confusion of when something is going to need to be turned in. A lot of students might be confused, like if we do something on Thursday, is it due Friday or is it due the next time we have class? So I just have everything that was completed or worked on during the week. It will all be turned in on Wednesday because they're going into Schoology to do the test or quiz anyway, and hopefully they will find some time as well to turn in the work that they finished. So on these Wednesdays, because we don't have class, it's a day for students to catch up on work and to do the assignment that I have on Wednesday, as well as ask questions if they are having trouble with anything. I do hold Zoom office hours every Wednesday from 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm always available then, and I'm even available on other times if asked specifically by somebody if they just have a question that they need answered. My contact information is up at the top. Email is probably the best way, rgoldberg@midlakes.org. You can also email Scott Monagle, smonagle@midlakes.org. My phone number is also provided, my classroom phone. You could also use Schoology as well to message me. I'm now obviously on Schoology most of the days. So I'm pretty good at responding to Schoology messages if you would like to do it that way. If you ever have any questions or concerns about your son or daughter, please do not hesitate to contact me. I will make myself as available as I possibly can. But I'm hoping, despite all these drastic changes in the school year, I'm still hoping that we do have a very successful and educational year. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to working with all of you.